So, I was at my cousin's wedding last month in Jakarta. Beautiful ceremony. Lots of family I hadn't seen in years. And you know how it is at Indonesian weddings. After the formal part ends, the elders gather in corners, sipping tea, trading stories. I ended up sitting with my uncle and a few of his friends from Lombok. They were talking about the old days, laughing about childhood memories. Then, one of them, a quiet guy named Hendra, suddenly got serious. "You ever hear about the widow on Jalan Melati?" he asked. The whole table went silent. My uncle looked uncomfortable. Another man shook his head slightly, like he was warning Hendra to stop talking. But Hendra kept going. She used to be normal. Sold vegetables at the market. Then her husband left her for a younger woman. 6 months later, he was dead. Car accident, they said. But his body, something had eaten parts of it. And after that, the widow changed. Stopped coming to the mosque. Stopped talking to neighbors. And people started hearing things on their roofs at night. That's when my uncle finally spoke. "We don't talk about her. Not even her name. Talking about them draws attention." "Them?" I asked. My uncle looked at me for a long moment, then said one word. "Leak." Today, I'm investigating a case that comes from Reddit, posted 3 years ago by an Indonesian Australian man who experienced something in Lombok that he still can't fully explain. Something that involved the word my uncle refused to say out loud. This is a true story. But to protect identities and fill in gaps from the original testimony, I've added contextual details and recreated certain moments. What follows is based on real events, real folklore, and real fear. The arrival. March 2016. A family of 4 arrives in a small village near Mount Rinjani in Lombok, Indonesia. The father, let's call him Budi, is Indonesian, born in Java, but with family roots in Lombok. The mother, Sarah, is Australian. There are 2 children, Alex, age 16, and Maya, age 14. They're here for a cousin's wedding. 7 nights in the village, staying at Uncle Wayu's house, a small compound with a deli shop in front and living quarters in back. The accommodations are basic. The room assigned to them is concrete and corrugated iron. 1 small window with metal bars, covered by a thin curtain. 4 sleeping mats on the floor. The first day is pleasant. Family reunions, food, laughter. Maya makes friends with local kids. Alex explores the village with cousins. Sarah takes photos of rice terraces. By sunset, everyone's tired. They eat dinner, shower using the mandi bucket system, and settle in for sleep around 10 p.m. At 2:47 a.m., everything changes. Night 1. The impact. The sound is massive, a metallic bang that shakes the entire room. All 4 family members jolt awake simultaneously. Sarah's first thought is earthquake, but nothing's shaking. Just that one impact. Like something huge fell onto the roof. Then, scratching, deliberate, heavy, moving across the corrugated iron above their heads. Budi sits up slowly, putting a finger to his lips. His face is tight with fear, an expression his children have never seen before. The scratching continues. It's not an animal. The pattern is too methodical. And the weight, each movement creates groaning sounds in the metal, like something far heavier than a human is up there. Maya starts crying silently. Alex grabs his phone, turns on the flashlight, points it at the ceiling. The beam shakes because his hand is trembling. Then they hear it, breathing. Heavy, wet, labored breathing, coming from directly above them. Sarah whispers, "What the hell is that?" Budi doesn't answer. He's staring at the window. Through the thin curtain, a shadow passes. Tall, too tall, with something extending from its back. Something that looks like folded wings. The breathing intensifies. Excited, hungry. Then, it speaks. A woman's voice, soft and sweet, speaking Indonesian. "Ada anak di sini. Aku bisa cium mereka." Translation: "There are children here. I can smell them." Maya's crying becomes a muffled sob. Alex pulls her close, covering her mouth with his hand. The shadow at the window lingers for what feels like an eternity. 30 seconds. A minute. 2 minutes. Then, suddenly, wings unfurl. The sound is like tearing fabric. A powerful leap. The whole building shudders, and the thing launches into the night sky. Silence crashes back. Nobody moves for 5 full minutes. Nobody speaks. They just sit there in the dark, hearts pounding, waiting to see if it returns. It doesn't. But at 4:15 a.m., just before dawn, they hear a door close next door. The neighbor's door. The morning after. Sarah insists they leave immediately. Pack up, go to a hotel. But Booty explains it's impossible. The wedding is in 3 days. His cousin, the groom, specifically invited them. Leaving now would be a massive insult. Would damage family relationships permanently. Then we find somewhere else to sleep, Sarah argues. Uncle Wahyu overhears. What happened? Booty tells him. Uncle Wahyu's expression doesn't show surprise, just resignation. It's been active again, he says quietly. The leak. Almost every night now for the past 2 weeks. The what? Sarah demands. Booty closes his eyes. Leak. It's a kind of witch. Someone who practices black magic. They transform at night. That's insane, Sarah says. That's not real. Uncle Wahyu takes them outside, behind the house. He points to the shared wall between his property and the neighbors. Carved into the concrete are symbols, geometric patterns, curved lines, protection marks, Uncle Wahyu explains. The Dukun put these here 2 years ago. Dukun? Sarah asks. Spiritual healer, shaman. He identified the source. Uncle Wahyu nods toward the neighbor's house. 2 women live there, mother and daughter. They came from somewhere inland about 5 years ago. Ever since they arrived, there have been incidents. What kind of incidents? Alex asks. Uncle Wahyu hesitates. Animals won't go near their house. A child got sick after playing near their wall. Stopped eating, stopped talking, died 3 months later. And people hear things on roofs at night. See shadows. The Dukun says they're leak practitioners. So call the police. Sarah's voice is rising. And tell them what? Uncle Wahyu spreads his hands. That our neighbors are witches? The police don't handle spiritual matters. And direct accusation. He shakes his head. That makes you a target. In 1998, in East Java, over 100 suspected sorcerers were killed by mobs. For 3 months afterward, the attacks stopped. Then they came back worse than before. You can't kill what's inside them. It just finds a new host. Sarah looks at Booty. We're taking the kids to a hotel. But all the hotels, within an hour's drive, are fully booked for the wedding weekend. They're trapped. What is a leak? That afternoon, while the kids play with cousins, Booty explains to Sarah what a leak actually is. In Indonesian and Balinese folklore, a leak is a human who's transformed through black magic. The process takes years of ritual practice, offerings to dark entities, and consuming forbidden substances. The transformation is permanent. During the day, they appear normal, but at night, they can change, growing wings, developing claws, gaining the ability to fly. They hunt for life force, particularly from the young and innocent. Leak have physical characteristics that witnesses across centuries have described consistently. Elongated limbs, glowing eyes, wings like crow feathers mixed with bat membrane, and always, an extra toe. 6 toes per foot instead of 5. They're repelled by salt, iron, prayer, and thorny plants. They cannot cross thresholds protected by Quranic verses, and they must return to their human form before sunrise or die. But here's the terrifying part. They choose this. Women, almost always women, who've been wronged, abandoned, desperate, or consumed by jealousy, seek out teachers. They learn ilmu hitam, black magic, and eventually they merge with something else, something hungry. You don't actually believe this, Sarah says. Booty looks at her. Something was on our roof last night. Something spoke. And you heard it too. Sarah has no response. Night 2. The window. Alex takes first watch. He sits against the wall, opposite the window, phone in hand, watching. By 1:30 a.m., he's drenched in sweat. Not normal tropical sweat. His skin feels like it's burning from inside. By 2 a.m., he's covered in heat rash. Red welts spreading across his arms, neck, chest. He wakes his father early. Budi takes over, sitting in the same spot. He begins whispering Quranic verses continuously, creating a sound barrier of prayer. At 3:07 a.m., the curtain moves. No wind. Complete stillness outside. But the curtain drifts open like an invisible hand pushed it. Through the window, Budi sees the neighbor's house. A light is on upstairs, and in that window stands a silhouette. A woman, completely still. Watching their window, Budi stares back. Doesn't blink. Doesn't look away. Looking away first is submission. An invitation. After 3 or 4 minutes, the silhouette steps back into darkness. The moment she's gone, Budi reaches up and closes the curtain. It opens again immediately. He closes it. It opens. This happens 6 times. On the 7th closing, Budi recites Ayat Kursi, the most powerful protective verse in the Quran, directly at the window. The curtain stays closed, but for the rest of the night, he hears sounds on the roof. Scratching. Testing. Looking for weakness. Night 3. The invitation. Maya wakes at 2:33 a.m. to her name being whispered directly into her ear. Her full name, including the middle name, only family uses. She sits up. Everyone else is asleep, even her father, who's supposed to be on watch but nodded off. She looks at the window. The curtain is open. Pressed against the bars is a face. Not quite human. The proportions are almost right, but subtly wrong. Eyes too large. Mouth too wide. Nose nearly absent. And it's smiling. The face tilts, studying her like a bird studies an insect. Then it whispers, Keluar. Keluar sama aku. Aku mau tunjukkan sesuatu yang indah. Translation. Come out. Come out with me. I want to show you something beautiful. The voice is female. Gentle and nerdy. Motherly. Maya can't move. Can't scream. The face continues. Kamu cantik. Muda. Aku suka yang muda. Keluar ya. Hanya sebentar. Translation. You're pretty. Young. I like young ones. Come out. Okay? Just for a moment. Something inside Maya breaks. She drags in air and screams. The face vanishes instantly. Everyone jolts awake. Budi rushes to the window, nothing there. But in the morning, they find footprints in the dirt below the window. Bare feet. Human-shaped. Each print has 6 toes. They don't sleep on night 4. They sit up together, lights on, reciting prayers, waiting for dawn. At 3:15 a.m., something lands on the roof. Controlled. Deliberate. Heavy. Footsteps walk slowly across the metal, then stop directly above their room. Silence and just weight pressing down, making the roof creak. Then, scratching. Not random. Deliberate. Like something's riding on the metal with a claw. This continues for 20 minutes before the weight lifts and wing beats fade into distance. In the morning, Uncle Wayu climbs up to check. What he finds makes him immediately call the dukun. Scratched into the roof are symbols. The dukun arrives, looks, goes pale. This is a claim mark, he says. She's declaring the house as hunting territory. You need to leave. Today. The escape. By noon, the family is packed and relocated to a hotel in Mataram, 40 kilometers away. They don't attend the wedding, don't explain why they're leaving. They just go. Before leaving Lombok entirely, Budi insists on visiting the dukun one last time. He needs to know if they've been marked, if they're safe. The dukun's house smells of incense, flowers, and something old. Something that makes the air feel thick. He examines each family member carefully. Checks their hands, faces, necks. Finally, no physical marks. She never touched you. You're safe. But then he looks at Maya. However, she spoke to you directly. Knows your name. That creates a connection. A thread. It's thin. It will fade over time, especially with distance. But for the next year, be careful. Careful how? Sarah demands. Don't sleep alone. Keep lights on. If you hear your name whispered when no one's there, respond immediately with prayer. Don't ignore it. And if you dream of Lombok, of this village, wake yourself immediately. Don't explore the dream. He performs a cleansing ritual, gives them stronger amulets. Then he tells them about the neighbors. The mother has been Leyak for many years, fully transformed. The daughter is in the second stage, learning. In another year, maybe 2, she'll complete her transformation. Then there will be 2 hunting together. Why don't you stop them? Sarah asks. You cannot stop someone from choosing darkness. That's between them and God. We can only protect ourselves. Direct confrontation just makes it worse. In 1998, they tried 150 killings. The attack stopped for 3 months, then came back stronger. Because you can't kill what's inside them. It just finds a new host. He looks at each of them. Stay in the light. Keep your faith. And never sleep with open windows in places you don't know. The aftermath. The family returned to Australia in March 2016. 3 years later, the father posted the story on Reddit. It went viral, 111 upvotes. Dozens of comments from across Southeast Asia confirming similar experiences. In follow-up comments, he mentioned Maya still keeps blackout curtains in her apartment. Still sleeps with lights on. Still hears her name whispered occasionally, less frequent now. But not gone. The thread is fading. But it hasn't broken. Alex developed a habit of researching Indonesian folklore obsessively, reading anthropology papers, interviewing relatives. But he's never gone back to Lombok. Sarah refuses to discuss it. At family gatherings, if someone mentions Lombok, she changes the subject immediately. And Budi? He told his children one thing before they left the Dukun's house. Some things in this world can't be explained by science. Can't be fought with logic. Can't be ignored away. You don't have to understand them. You just have to respect them. And protect yourselves. Here's what keeps me thinking about this case. The consistency. From Dutch colonial records in the 1600s to Reddit posts in 2019, descriptions of Leyak remain remarkably stable. Same physical traits. Same behavior. Same targeting patterns. If this was just folklore evolving over time, you'd expect variations, drifty, regional differences. But that's not what happens. The Leyak of 1650 is essentially identical to the Leyak of 2016. I spoke with an anthropologist who studied Indonesian supernatural beliefs. She told me, do I think there are literally women with crow wings eating souls? No. But do I think there are phenomena we don't understand? Psychological, sociological, maybe even physical, that exist in the space between what we know and what we dismiss. Yes, and maybe that's where Leyak live. In that space, what haunts me isn't the dramatic moments, the roof impact, the face at the window. It's the mundane horror. The fact that in villages across Lombok, across Bali, across Indonesia, everyone knows who the Leyak practitioners are. They shop at the same markets, walk the same streets, live next door to families with children. And everyone just accepts it, not with approval, but with pragmatic fear. You hang amulets, you recite prayers, you teach your daughters not to answer when they hear their names whispered, and you hope that when something lands on your roof at 3 a.m., it lands somewhere else. That's the horror of the Leyak. Not that they might exist, but that entire communities live as if they definitely do, and adjust accordingly. After that conversation at my cousin's wedding, I asked my uncle more about the widow on Jalan Melati. He was silent for a long time. Then she disappeared 2 years ago. Just gone one day. Her house is still there. Empty. No one will buy it. No one will even go inside to clear it out. Because we don't know if she's really gone, or if she just moved somewhere else, found new hunting grounds. Do you believe she was really a leak? I asked. He looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. I believe something took 3 children from our village in 5 years. I believe those children developed mysterious illnesses that no doctor could explain. And I believe after she disappeared, the deaths stopped. He paused. So whether she was literally a flying witch, or just a very sick woman who somehow caused harm, doesn't matter. The fear was real. The deaths were real. And the relief when she was gone was real. Then he said something I'll never forget. Your generation, you grew up in cities, with electricity and locked doors and hospitals nearby. You think darkness is just the absence of light. But in villages, in the real countryside, darkness is fuller. It has weight, presence, and sometimes things live in it that cities can't imagine. If you ever travel to rural Indonesia, to Lombok, Bali, Java, and you're staying in a village home, accept the hospitality. Indonesian culture is beautiful and generous. But before you sleep, ask your host, is there anyone in the village I should be careful around? If they hesitate, if they exchange glances, if they say something vague, like keep your window closed, or don't go out after dark, listen. They're trying to warn you without speaking names, without drawing attention. And if you wake at 3 a.m. to something heavy on your roof, if you hear footsteps, breathing, scratching, if a voice whispers your name from outside your window, don't look, don't answer, don't open the door. Close your eyes, pray to whatever you believe in, and wait for sunrise, because sunrise always comes. And whatever walks the night in those villages cannot survive the light. Not yet. This has been Indonesian Horror Files. Case documented. Stay safe. Keep your windows closed. And if you hear your name in the dark, remember this story. And don't answer.